Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Into the Fear. I am your host, Chainsaw Sammy, and welcome back to our nightly segments. I am here with Heather, owner and founder of Scream Score. Heather, how are you?
Amazing. Super happy to be here.
All right. So tell me, how'd you get started in the amazing haunt industry that it is?
Well, I was probably 8 years old when my mom and dad had a neighbor come over and put on some prosthetics. And I was a witch, right? So I had the nose and a pointy chin and some warts. And I remember going into the bathroom and seeing myself completely transformed by the prosthetics. And I was just in love. I was enamored with the power of makeup. And then from there, I started doing a lot of theater. And in junior high, a flyer came through the theater room, and it was like, hey, there's a Jaycees haunt in the mall, and we need volunteers. So I think I was 13, and I showed up one Saturday at about 4 o'clock. They put me in makeup and put me sort of under this false floor, and I was to be a zombie crawling out of the graves. And the first time that I made a large guy scream, I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Yep.
I am in love with this. Now we're talking about the makeup and the magic and the power of scaring. So fast forward, I continued with theater a little bit, but then I ended up working in zoos and aquariums. That was my whole career. I'm a zoologist officially.
Awesome.
Yeah. So animals and animal conservation is kind of my thing, but I still had this theater and Halloween side. And so about 1999, I convinced the Santa Barbara Zoo to let me start a Boo at the Zoo because they really didn't have one. They had tried it one time, and it was so popular that they actually ran out of candy in the first 30 minutes. So they were like, we're not ready for this. And I said, hey, I think I can do this. Like I had been studying prosthetics makeup. I was doing over the top costumes for myself. And so I started bringing theater and haunts into my regular day job. And I was able to run haunted attractions at nonprofits. And so, yeah, I did that in California. And then I went up and did that in Florida and then Utah. So I was traveling doing my real job, but always bringing in Halloween. And it's just part of my blood. I love creating the themes and the characters. I love the team. I love the cast and creating characters and stories. And it's almost like the team more than anything is what I love about Halloween.
Yes. Oh my God, girl. How do we have like almost a similar background? So
What?
I've been a theater kid from kindergarten all the way through college. That's how I got started in the industry. So for me, it was, auditions for Six Flags was when I first went for it because I
Oh,
wanted a paid acting job so I can brag to, my theater group of, I got a paid acting job. How
oh
about you?
yeah.
I didn't make the audition. So then I auditioned for The Darkness here in St. Louis and I got the job. So that's how it started. But I fell in love with it. That first real good scare.
Oh,
It's it's history after that. You fall in love with it and you continue to do it. Also, marine biology is what I wanted to do my entire childhood, all the way through college. But I realized it didn't pay for my lifestyle because I was a competitive equestrian. Well, that costs
oh,
money. As a haunter, that costs money. And I
yep.
also was really big into cosplay. So that costs money and it didn't fit my lifestyle. So I wanted to pushing that away and just push myself forward more in the haunt industry. And then I got into law enforcement later in life, but it pays the bills. So that's why I tell people, hey, it pays for me to continue to do what I love. The podcast pays for itself. The podcast started because I was a radio host 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And then after our producer passed away, things changed around, ownership changed around. And so I left the radio. And then less than a year later, I started the podcast. So the rest is history with that. But yes, like you and I have a similar background. That's so crazy.
This is how we find each other. This is the thing. Yeah.
Yes.
I was really, really, really lucky to find a way to bring things together that I loved and have, you know, my nonprofit job and then be doing theater and casting and, you know, custom sets and custom costuming. And it just, it was outrageous. I mean, it was super fun. And then about 3 years ago, this month, 3 years ago, I decided to move back to Baltimore because I had lived in Baltimore when I worked at the National Aquarium many, many years ago. And I was like, you know, let's move back there. It feels like it's our vibe. And my son was about to go into high school. So we needed to decide, like, what are we doing? Like, are we staying here? Are we not? So I moved back to Baltimore, quit my career, and started 2 companies, which have nothing to do with Halloween. And everyone, when I quit, everyone's like, oh, she's definitely going to do a haunt, like 100%. And I think that was really interesting. And that's still like, I still hear that in my head every week.
Yes.
So, and on the other hand, I also have deep mad respect for the people who start haunts because I know how hard it is. And I really know almost too much that, you know, I'm like decently scared of trying to do that, but never say never.
No, so, never say never.
Never say never. So I had these 2 other businesses. One of them was consulting. One of them was like entertainment design for impact for nonprofits. And then all of a sudden, about 2 years ago, Scream Score just like fell into my lap because my 14-year-old son came into the room and he's like, hey, Mom, this year we should go to a really scary haunt because he's, you know, 14. He's feeling old enough.
Brave.
Yeah, he's like brave. He's like, you're the cool mom because you've designed haunts and Halloween's your thing. What you don't know is I'm a super mega scaredy cat. I can create a haunt, but I am terrible walking through a haunt. I'm really scared, but even more so, what had happened 2 years before is I got this heart condition, like a real deal medical heart condition. And so now I have this like debate, like, do I go to be the cool mom? What if it's so scary? You know, they have like the big warning sign that says, if you have a heart condition, don't go in. And I said, man, I don't know if I can go. And my husband said, well, how do you know? Like, how do you really know if it's scary? Like, has anybody measured that? And is there any way to rank how scary it is? And that's how Scream Score started, because I came to find out that there really wasn't anything available to the general public to measure your fear, other than, of course, the most important thing, which is how you feel. But I wondered, was there anything else? And so that's how it started.
I love the idea. Now, is the family on payroll?
Yes. Oh my God.
So they came up with the ideas.
Oh yeah. So what's funny about that is Legends of the Fog here near us was where my son wanted to go. And Robin and Patrick ended up being one of the first test locations for Scream Score. So the very next year, took us a year. So the very next year, I was like, hey, this is crazy, but do you guys want to do some beta testing? And Patrick, Robin, and Matt, who is my tech guru, they're like, yeah, let's try it out. So they tested the very earliest version of Scream Score. And so it kind of came full circle, because then this year we went back and my son was able to wear it through a couple of, and I didn't go through, by the way. So he went through Slaughterhouse and I think another one of the mazes and measured how scared he was. So it's just amazing. Everybody's been so cool and so helpful as we were developing this new, like totally new technology. So I'm grateful for that.
I definitely love that because that's something that I've never heard of, but like it so makes sense.
Yeah, I was aware that there was scientists, right, that were studying fear in a lab. And
Yes.
I know some of those scientists would, put electrodes on people and they would study fear that way, but there was nobody who had a mobile app that you could just download in the app store and you could start doing it. So we found out there was a reason that nobody had that. And one of the reasons is because, we're actually measuring a couple different things with our app. We're measuring medical data essentially.
Yes.
And the app store had never had medical data used for non-medical or fitness reasons. So every time you would collect like your stress level or your heart rate or your oxygen, it was to benefit you fitness or medically.
Yeah.
There was nobody doing that just for fun. And we got denied several times because they were very sensitive about using HIPAA protected medical data. Being a zoologist apparently doesn't give me enough,
No, it doesn't.
Like they're like,
unfortunately, no.
No, they're like, is this monitored by a physician and is it going to be, a medically beneficial app? And we were like, no, it's just for fun. Yeah. So it took us a long time to get that figured out. But now we have it. And I think what I'm proud of is that it does actually measure your nervous system, like fight or flight response, not just your heart rate, because heart rate is not the best indication of fear.
No.
And that's because people can run, like from the chainsaw, from you, they can run. And then everyone also has a different heart rate as their baseline. So that's not a really good way to identify if you're scared.
Yeah. No, definitely love that because there's so many different factors. Yes, the flight or flight. That is something that I always taught my actors. That's what you're going to get. You're either going to get the flight where they just take off running, or you get the ones that want to fight.
Yeah. And they subconsciously sometimes respond either way, running into walls because it's just instant and or they will, reach out and fight or punch or push. And, that's why so many of our friends get accidentally hurt, and that's why you got to scare. Yeah, you got to scare in and out really fast because people sometimes don't even realize that they're responding that way. But I was surprised that there wasn't something out there. And then I should not be developing tech. I'm a zoologist. Like I can't even figure out my own Wi-Fi router. So it was quite interesting to have this idea. And try to navigate, through creating a mobile app for Android and for Apple. But here we are.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It seems like that's how it works. Most people that I interview and talk to the industry, they didn't always start off at that. They're just like, yeah, I liked Halloween. It was fun. It was their family tradition. And then all of a sudden they either build something or they decide, let's go into business, something like that. And it just explodes. And then they act like they've done it forever. And then they're like, oh no, it just kind of became a thing. And now it's my whole life.
Right. Yeah. It's, it's been interesting when we first came out, even before we were on the market, we went to East Coast Haunters just to talk to people, honestly, to say, what do you think about this? As a scare actor or a haunt owner, like, what are the things that you wish it would do what do you think is cool? How would you use it? What do you not like? What questions do you have about it? And it was just kind of market research.
Yeah.
And everybody was so freaking cool. I mean, they were so supportive, and people were like, yeah, I'll test it. Sure. And then by the next big trans world in St. Louis, we had Android.
Yes.
And that was this past year. And then over the summer we got we had Apple first, and then we had Android, and we got Android this summer. So now we're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's go. We're ready to hit the road. And we've had some surprises along the way too.
Yes. So when I first met you guys, so I just walked by your guys' booth and I was just curious. I was like, what is this? And then
Yeah.
I cannot remember who was there at the booth. I know it wasn't you. It was a younger gentleman, and he was explaining a little bit about, I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. I haven't heard anybody use that. And then of course me, I'm like, God, where was that marketing? Because that is great for marketing. Where was that when I was doing in-house marketing for haunted houses?
Yeah, it's interesting you're saying that, because for me, people have said, well, who's the main target and what is it for? And it's got a lot of different layers. So for the scare actors, at the end of the night, they can see their scores per maze.
Yeah.
Or per area. And so you can play with that. You can do like head-to-head competitions between the zombies against the scarecrows or whatever. So you've got that. For the guest, they are competing with the friends that they came with. So they can make a little team and they can compete with each other, or they're competing against the highest score of all time. Mm-hmm. So they've got like that gamified thing. But then you have the owner, and the owner then gets to see how everything's going, and they can have competitions online. So they can be like, hey, this weekend, whoever gets the highest scream score is going to get a 4-pack to come back.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to have my like newscasters, ABC News against NBC News.
Yeah.
Like head to head to see who's the most scared. I think for me, it's hard to choose which thing is the most fun, but I think the marketing power is pretty deep, especially with influencers, haunt reviewers. I mean, it's just kind of like, you have the data as an owner, you can use it however you want to, But marketing, heck yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the first thing that I see with this is it's definitely great for marketing haunted houses. Like you said, you offer it to customers and also your employees, and to do competitions, to win prizes or extra tickets, et cetera, and stuff like that. For influencers, obviously they will use this to grow their channels and their presence there. Same with reviewers, because I always put them in the same category.
Totally.
And then even for just regular media people like myself, and like you said, also with your local news channel, your local radio station, et cetera, all can use this for your marketing. This is definitely a number one for marketing strategy, because there's so many different fields you can use this for. And like you said, it's an app, so it's on a phone. And you said you have it for both Android and the iPhones, which those are the two main companies. So it's great. It works for everybody.
Yeah. We have 10,000 compatible devices on Android alone.
Wow.
And I know 10,000. Like, whoa. And that blows my mind, and then you've got the Apple Watches, and we have some Fitbits in there. One thing that is kind of a secret cool idea, you can, as an owner, in addition to the marketing thing, you can rent wearables to people if you wanted to. Like, if you wanted to say, hey, for an upcharge, then you're going to be able, of course, you have to get a deposit or something. You don't want those.
Oh, yes.
Away.
Yes.
But Cyber Monday, there's wearables out there that are under $50 and that are compatible. And, I think if I was an owner, I would at least have 1 or 2 systems like ready to go just for the news. Like when the news shows up, like, we're just going to slap this on you and put you through and see what your score is and like smack talk about it, you know? Um, I think that I'm just putting this tool out there, and the haunt family, you know, our industry is going to take it to totally
Oh
other
yeah.
places that I didn't even imagine. I mean, I could even see you have an upcharge for like Bury Me Alive or something, and
Mhm.
you add that as a component to see on the leaderboard, because the owners get a leaderboard that
Yeah.
you can put on a TV, right? So you can be like, hey, can you beat the highest score? Or if you want them to be brave, get the lowest score,
Yeah.
and use that to gamify it, you know?
Yes.
I don't I think it's
There's
cool.
so many possibilities with this. I mean, this is amazing. It's only gonna continue to grow with the times, obviously, but where was this, a decade or 2 ago? 'Cause, like, oh my god, imagine the possibilities. I mean, granted, we have it now, thank you
Yeah.
so much, but
Yay.
yeah, like, I see so much potential in it,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I have a good friend, Colton, who is a professor who studies fear, and he runs a horror film festival
Mhm.
called Nightmare in the Ozarks, which, by the way, everybody listening,
I know.
ah,
I know all about that festival.
it is so darn great. You guys don't even know. Like, you don't
Yeah.
even know how wonderful this festival is. And the zombie crawl, I'm
Yes.
just the whole it's so great. But Colton, who has a fear lab, and he studies fear on really the serious academic side, he was like, hey, why don't you come to the film festival, and we're going to have people watch the movies wearing your system,
Yeah.
which we did. And then at the end of the film festival, we were able to announce which movies had the highest score. Um, so horror films and horror film fanatics are very, very much an overlap with the haunt industry.
Yes.
And secret news, we are going to have a new version of the app coming out for film. So people will
Ah,
be able to sit on their couch with their friends and compete to see who's the most scared watching the movie.
oh my gosh.
Um, and we're going to start doing international competitions online like next month. So what that's going
That's
to
gonna
look
be
like,
interesting.
yeah, it's going to be like, hey, everybody, this month we're watching, I don't know, we're watching Exorcist, right? From the 70s. And everybody watch it between this date and this date. And whoever gets the highest score is going to get, a prize, whatever. That kind of competition can happen within 3 hours. If you and
Yeah.
I decided right now we wanted to do a competition, I have to go beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, put it into my system. I create the QR code, and then we can compete all over the world. It's like, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Um, and that's also going to happen for haunts as well. We're starting with the owners, but pretty soon the owner won't necessarily need to have contacted. Maybe they don't know about us, right?
Yeah.
But the haunt attendee can take the system anywhere.
Absolutely love that because I got hunt houses up there in Ireland and also Australia
Yeah.
that have reached out to me. So this would be so great for them because they said haunting in the United States is so different than what we have in our country. Because I was sitting, everybody comes to Transworld, so I was sitting down talking with them, and they're like, yeah, this is why we bring in guest actors from the United States to come to Ireland and guest act at our haunts to train our actors of how they do in the US. Because apparently we're the most extreme haunted houses in the world. We take things super far and blah, blah, blah. Because
That
again,
sounds
it's
right.
a different world, different country, and our culture is so different here. But they are like, no, we want to bring that there. So that's perfect for them. That's definitely something that they definitely want to look into. I will make sure they stop by and see you at Transworld this year so they
Yay.
could talk about that and get this out internationally because that's amazing that we could do this worldwide.
Yeah, it's we started with different technology. We started with Bluetooth technology. And then we, after that, which simply means that when you have the app on your phone, and I should say that's what you do, you download the app, and then all you have to do is you have to trigger the measurement, right? So we were doing things like this. We've got this, which is like tap to start. So, you would take your phone and you would just tap and it would start the experience. It would start measuring. And then we were like, well, what if we don't even do that? What if we just do QR codes? Because then I can send a haunt owner just the QR code and they can have that in 2 hours from now and they can start doing it like right now. And so when we went to QR codes, it just kind of opened everything up because now we don't have hardware that we need to ship. And there's also a thumbprint start type thing that we could do if we wanted to. So yeah, it's just cool. Like things keep evolving,
Catching up with the times,
I guess. Yeah. Well, and, people have asked, it's been interesting, the questions that people have been asking about it. I think the biggest one is, what do you do if you don't have a wearable? What if how do I make sure that my attendees bring their wearable? That's the other thing. They might have it, but maybe they didn't bring it. And the best thing is when they buy tickets, if they buy it online, is to just have them download the app right then. Be like, hey, download it. It's free. And be sure to bring your, compatible device so that you can play. And we kind of talk about it like it's a game. And then the other option is, if they don't have one, is you can rent them. The other thing is we don't charge for the app. Like usually the owners don't charge for people to play unless they have an upcharge for a specific experience or, giving somebody this. Because honestly, like at the trade shows, if somebody wants to play, sometimes I just take off my watch and I give it to them and then they can play. And then the other question people have is about Wi-Fi and cell phone, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, my haunt's in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
And we actually don't need Wi-Fi and cell during the measurement. So you can actually have people go way out into the forest or the corn or whatever. We only need cell data when they download the app and when they're going to get their score. Because what happens is it's kind of stored temporarily here. Then when you get into cell service, it beams it up.
Yeah. So that's good. So while they're in the haunt and stuff like that, almost every haunt now has some kind of Wi-Fi. So it just might not be widespread throughout the entire attraction.
Yeah.
So that would be something where you start at, obviously you're going to start at the front of the haunt or in the midway or by the ticket booth where there is access to Wi-Fi and cellular device. Yeah. And then once you go through the haunt, that's a good thing that it still works no matter what. And then so by the time you get back, it works just fine. So
that's right. That's right. The other thing is you don't have to have it open. So that's, a lot of, and I actually really agree with this. I don't want people looking at their phones or their watches while they're going through an experience. And this is not meant to do that. Yeah. So when you start it, so when it's like this, you can actually like close it and put it in your pocket and it will continue to measure. So, I know a lot of owners are like, I want them to be completely focused on what's happening around them. I've spent so much time and energy and money. The experience, they need to be in the moment. And that's how the system is designed. You start it, you put it away, you get scared really bad. And then when you get out, there's usually a sign that says, hey, what's your score? And that's usually where the television is, like showing the scores.
Yes.
So yeah, those are the main questions people have had. And then the other thing is, can I download my data? Can I search by hour or by date or by area? And you can, you can, if you're a data nerd, you can use that data to even, I would say maybe decide or help you decide if you want to renovate a certain area, because you can look at the scores over the last season and be like, I really think we need to go harder in this room or this maze next year. This is where we need to put some of our attention. But it also is meant to just supplement what you already know. It's like, we know as scare actors and owners when people are having a really good, scary, good time.
Yes.
Like, you don't need my app to tell you that. This is meant to really just gamify the experience and give you something new to talk about and give the audience a new way to compete with each other. But I think the really, 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 the people who love Halloween like we do, they know when they've got a really good maze.
Oh, yes. This is a good way for haunts to compete with each other too, because they could say, look at our scores compared to yours. So that's a fun thing for haunts to interact, all the haunts that are close by each other and stuff that compete against each other.
Set up competitions with media.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. I definitely see that happening big time, especially the haunts that are close quarters together with each other. They'll be like, everyone wants to say, who's the scarier haunt? Well, guess what? We're going to use the Scream score this year to see who's got the most scariest haunt for the season. And then again, for the haunt reviewers to use, most definitely, to show which haunt was scarier for them.
Yeah. And I think it'll be exciting when this is able to be used totally within like consumer to consumer. Right now, we're using just the owners because I always wanted to kind of honor and co-create it with them to figure out like what would be cool. Because I used to run haunts, so I always kind of think of it like that. But yeah, there's going to be an option pretty soon where people can just be like, I want to download it and I want to go there, and then I want to go to that roller coaster, and then I want to watch that movie this Saturday. And you get the scores no matter what kind of experience it is. They all show up on your profile. I'll show you what that looks like. So I know it's a little fuzzy, but right here, this is all of my scores from all these different experiences that I've done. This is my top score, my most recent score. And then it also says where I got the most scared.
Yeah.
Was it a roller coaster? Was it a movie? Probably was Legends of the Fog. Just saying. Probably. Or any haunt.
They're a great haunt. They are a great haunt up there.
Yeah, I get scared really easily. So just, I'm not telling people that so you come scare me at Transworld. I have a real heart condition, people, okay? But we will be having a competition at the Transworld booth, at Scream Scores booth. So the details are still coming together, but I think there's going to be a competition for the attendees, but also possibly a competition for the scare actors too.
Yes. That is going to be so awesome because yes, Transworld did say that they are going to have a haunt tour this year on Wednesday night at Talon Farms. That's located in Kentucky. It's about 3 hours from downtown, so it is a bit of a trek to get there. But obviously, Transworld has the buses all set up, and they can also drive yourself as well. Amazing. So you got that, and then the Darkness obviously will be open probably on Friday or Saturday as well.
That's right. And you will find me at the Lights On tour. You'll see me looking at everything and going, oh, from an operator perspective, and then completely chickening out later.
The Darkness is amazing. That's my home house. So, I mean, I always tell people, yes, if you've never been there, it is worth checking it out because go in there to see the haunt itself because there's a lot of, I mean, darn good, talented people that put in their blood, sweat, and tears. I used to be one of them. So I always tell people, go there and check everything out.
It's so hard for me being a scaredy cat. And everyone's like, get over it. You know how a lot of it's done. But I actually enjoy being able to be scared still. And when I buy a ticket for what I would consider, you know, a scarier haunt, every time I think about it, and I'm talking days ahead of time, my heart rate starts going when I think about I'm going to have to go. Like I bought the ticket, now I have to go. I don't know why. I think part of it is I hype myself up because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I get really, 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 really nervous. My highest scream score, by the way, is 88 out of 100.
Wow.
So for all y'all who are going to be at Trans World, come and see what your scream score is. Go stand in front of an animatronic, or or get scared by a really talented actor and see. You guys are hard to scare. Trans World, much like the horror film
Yeah.
audience, is hard to scare. And I even already am seeing a difference
Yeah.
between film and live and regular audience
Yes.
versus fans. Like all that data is starting to show up into some interesting trends. But come and play and see if you can get your score up above 88.
I got quite a few people, which is really funny. So when I travel to haunted houses all across the country, I meet with different actors, and I love it where they're not scared of their own haunt, but they're scared to go to other haunts. And I'm like, are you serious?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And
I
when
love
you,
it. I love it because I laugh so hard. It is hard to scare me. So my score, I know, is already going to be super low because I'm so desensitized with it from starting off as an actor. So this was my 18th season I celebrated. So
wow.
I know my big 20s coming up
Oh my
soon.
gosh.
My goodness. Yep. 2027 will be my 20th year in the business. So starting off from an actor, working all of my way up to general manager, I got to the point where I'm desensitized. And
Yeah.
not only that, working in law enforcement, I'm desensitized from a lot of things. Things that
Oh yeah.
scare me are like my taxes, bills, debt.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Like the
I
real.
have real fears, man. Let me
Yeah.
tell you.
You know what's funny about that you said that? So I was testing the app hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of times, sitting on my couch, triggering it, triggering. And when you develop an app, a lot of things can go wrong all
Yes.
the time. And
Yeah.
so, I would get to a point where we were really locked in. Like it was solidly, like it was doing what it should do when it's supposed to do it. I was feeling so great. And then something would happen. And what you saw in my scores was amazing. It'd be like 65, 64, 65, 64, 60,
Yeah.
79. Like as soon as something would go wrong when I was testing,
Yep.
my fear, my honest, like, oh crap, this business is not going to work, would go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating because there was no external like jump scare or anything. It was that I was like truly scared that something was wrong and I had lost all my money.
Like that's the real fear I
That's
tell
the
people.
real fear, and the app measured it.
Yes.
It was crazy.
Because
And
it's the
also in
day-to-day life that controls our life, unfortunately.
yeah,
that
well,
that fails, it's like, oh, everything failed. I give
yeah.
up. My life's over with.
Yeah, no, it was really scary at certain points when, we were trying to figure out why didn't it work that time? Like what happened? And I also realized tech can be fussy sometimes, but when we were testing with the horror film people, the audience, it was really interesting. The audience that goes to a horror film festival, I think, is pretty ready to be scared and excited
Yes.
to be scared, and maybe I would even say hard to scare.
Mm-hmm.
What we saw, and this is super preliminary, so we need lots and lots more data, but it's appearing that for that audience, the gore and like the jump scares was nothing. Like
Yes.
they were fine. Like they were really low. Their scores were in the 50s and 60s for that. But the psychological fear and the movies that were very unsettling and very like
Yes.
off balance and strange were the ones that really got to them.
Mm-hmm.
And That was fascinating. I think we'll have to see if that continues to be the way it is. But there's the general public, and then there's the horror film fanatic.
Yes.
For the
It's
horror
so
film
different.
fanatic, we're hoping to do a lot more film festivals. We'll kind of see what is creeping them out,
Yes.
So it's just so much fun. I'm so lucky to be back in this industry a little bit. And supporting an industry that I care about so much through this new tool. That's
Yes.
how I see it.
Yeah. So like for me, so my mom, she loves haunted houses. So she's not a haunter as in my level, but she's the one who got me kind of into haunted houses a little bit. So I loved horror films growing up. It didn't matter how bloody, gory, how real they were, psychological films. I could watch them day and night and they wouldn't bother me. Even the ones that did scare me, like I couldn't sleep with the lights off anymore kind of thing, I would still go back and watch it again, no matter how much it actually did
Wow.
freak me out or make me paranoid. Mine was I didn't scream, but I was paranoid afterwards,
Yeah.
where you're just like,
What
can't
was
sleep
that?
with the light off. What was that noise? I'm not going outside. Or you
Right?
go outside and you see things. Like you turn around real quick, so you see shadows.
Yep.
It didn't matter. I would still watch them over and over. But when it came to haunted houses, which every Halloween, my mom's like, we're going to a haunted house tonight with some friends. And I'm like, no, those are real people. I'm not going in there. I don't know their intentions. I don't know who that is. And because my parents were police officers, both my parents were also in law enforcement, they taught me there's bad people in the world. So I'm
Yeah.
like, that could be a bad person. I'm not going in
Right.
there.
Well, we're seeing, it's super early still, but we're seeing that the live entertainment is higher.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
because I think there is some level of understanding that I am separated, that is on the screen, and I'm over
Yes.
here. I think what could be interesting is playing with that, especially in theaters. And in my dream of dreams, there's a mashup haunt like that where you sometimes it's just the film and sometimes it's not.
Yep.
I was allowed to watch scary movies when I think my mom didn't know maybe, but my dad is like, you want to watch this? And so, we're talking about like The Thing, when I
Yes.
was
Oh,
in
it
grade
still
school.
grosses me out. So I could
Well,
watch it, but I'm grossed out. I'm like,
yeah,
getting
and
gross. The
the
body
effects,
horror. The body
yeah,
horror.
the body horror, the transformations, like the dogs, the whole thing. Like I think I was probably around 7 or 8 maybe.
Yeah.
And I knew darn well that my mom would never allow me to watch it, but my dad would. And so it was this cool thing that we always had.
Yeah.
He would even read Edgar Allan Poe stories to me when I was like probably 5, 6. Shout out Baltimore. And here I am now in Baltimore, which is ironic.
Yes.
But I think I knew there was something cool about it, even when I was young, that this was not something I was supposed to be watching when I was little. And I loved that cool moment with my dad. I felt like a cool kid.
Yes.
Still scared me
Oh, yeah.
really bad. I don't
Well,
go back and watch usually.
like as a so like as an FX artist, I mean, I like it because that's all practical effects. And I
Yeah,
know the effects that goes into films like that and the time and the effort and everything like that. But
yeah,
of course, I still get grossed out, especially when it involves a dog. Any movie that kills off the dog or the dog becomes the monster, I'm like, ew, gross.
yeah.
I
There's
don't like it no more.
the
But
the what about what do you feel about like werewolf transitions?
those don't bother me for some reason.
That's
Both the
interesting.
practical both the practical and even the CGI,
Yeah.
those don't bother me for some reason. It's when they, like old I think it's from watching Old Yeller as a kid, it's
Oh,
just
that
like
messed me up.
it's that sadness. I've lost dogs in the past. I just had to put down one of my dogs about 6
Mm.
months ago. She had terminal cancer.
Oh,
So it brings like that trauma back, I
yeah, I
think.
can't.
Like the movie I Am Legend with Will Smith, where the dog gets
Oh, it's
infected and
terrible.
he had to
Oh,
kill
it's
the dog.
terrible.
It was terrible because I'm like, I walked out of the theater. I'm like, done. I'm done with this movie. And
Yeah,
I thought it
no.
was a good movie, but I was like, nope, nope. They killed the dog off. I'm done. I'm out here.
Yeah,
Nope, terrible.
This is your also that love of animals you were talking about before.
It is.
You know, I have a real hard time with all of that. You know, I'm a little bit of a tender heart. That's why I get so scared of everything, I think. For me, the monsters, you know, I'm a bit of a fangirl for sculpture,
Yes.
like in a big way. And I'm talking about, you know, really before we were doing a lot of digital sculpting, but more, you know, clay sculpts, and a lot of people still do.
Mhm.
And I think it goes back to that prosthetics and the interest
Yes.
in transformation. I am just a super dork for sculpture and beautiful masks, beautiful, and that extends into theming as well.
Mhm.
But I think that's why I turned down the volume, and I want to see how they did it or try to figure
Yes.
out how they did the thing. Um, but I turned down the volume
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
the sound, shout out to the
Oh, yeah.
sound engineers and the
Oh, yes.
composers, because holy cow.
Yes. When it comes to this is the same thing when it comes to haunted houses and horror films, not only is your visual, but your audio is also your two main components to make a great film. You know, because
Totally.
we don't do the silent films anymore. We haven't done that for 100 years. So yes, your practical and CGI can be perfect, but if your audio is not, it can destroy your film, and that goes within the haunted house. Not
Oh,
only is your visual, but your audio needs to be on point as well. I've been through haunted houses with both good and poor quality audio. And let me tell you, the haunt that has that high, good quality audio is going to be amazing.
oh,
And
it's
it
everything.
brings the scene to life. And haunts are going all the way now. We're doing everything, not only from practical, but haunt houses are using the projection mapping, CGI effects, and stuff like that. They're projecting those into their haunts because it's just to add more wow factor, more into a scene, because again, everything is visual when customers are coming through, but
Yep.
your audio is definitely another main key component.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the feeling too, with floors that move, you know, more haunts are
Oh
getting
yeah.
into more of the floors and the ceilings and the walls, more things moving, not just a random animatronic in the corner. It's like, no, have your ceilings or your floors move, have those squishy floors or the floors that just move or they're uneven. And also sense, you know, Froggy's Fog makes the sense,
Oh my gosh.
adding that sense, because now you got all five senses are just constantly going up. And that's also what brings the scare, because you're putting them into that element.
Oh yeah.
That's the main job as a scenic artist, is you want those customers to believe they've been transported to that place and time.
I remember a couple trans worlds ago, maybe 4 or 5 ago, going up to the special sense area where you can
Yes.
like take off the cap.
You pick up the worst one first
That
every
was
time.
shout out to all my friends at that I mean, I ordered those scents. Let's just be clear. I mean, but boy, are they so good. I actually just saw them at the big IAPA show, which
Yes.
was last week, and Froggy's was there, and I was like,
Yes. I
"What's
was going to
up?"
ask you that question. Did you make it to IAPA? Because I
I
know
did.
Scream Score definitely can benefit the amusement park industry
Yeah,
very
yeah.
well.
We had some really good meetings, talking to roller coaster people, talking
Yeah.
to people who do immersive
Yeah.
spaces, definitely talking to some folks who do year-round haunts because they want to drive. You know, they want to have competitions, so they drive more foot traffic, and it gives people multiple reasons to come back. Like, hey, beat your score. Um, and we also have the ability to measure other emotions. So, you know, we're talking about fear, but we also have 3 other emotions that we can measure. So, for other industries, they were kind of interested in, we have one that can be sort of for calm, we have another one for engagement, and another one for frustration. And so you'll be seeing that, you know, and probably not for our haunt lovers and our horror lovers. We're going to stay with fear, but
Yes.
for all the other kinds of attractions, they're pretty interested in those other ways to measure. And we've got some interesting conversations going. So hopefully after the holidays and after Trans World,
Yes.
those conversations will continue, because we're talking to museums, escape rooms, immersive spaces, even medical industry that is using art to try to create a less stressful environment. So I just had the best fun. IAPA, if you haven't gone and you're into haunted attractions,
Yep.
it's just less of the focused haunt world, but so much of everything else. And you
Oh,
can always,
yes.
and they have carved out a section for haunts. I highly recommend it.
Oh,
It's in
yes.
Orlando. Call me
Yes.
and we'll hang out.
Absolutely.
It's super
I
fun.
haven't been back to IPA since 2017 was the last time that I went.
Oh,
Went there for the darkness because we also own Blacklight Attractions and Halloween Productions.
oh yes.
So we own that as well. So that's why we were down there for pretty much for that. But of course, everybody walks up and wants to talk about the haunted house side of it, and I'm like, well, that's me.
You're like,
Hi, I'm one of the managers and one of the bill crew and stuff like that. So that was the last time that I was down there. But I do plan to make my way back down there again, because just hearing about the industry for the amusement park, because there's so much that goes on in amusement park. People just immediately think roller coasters, this, and that. I'm like, no, there's so much more that I want to learn. I said, number one, I come from law enforcement, so I want to know how do you run your security team
oh
in
my
an
God,
amusement park? I want to know how that works. Um,
100%.
and then obviously I know a little bit more of how haunted houses, like example, Halloween Horror Nights, because I've been going to Halloween Horror Nights since 2014 all the way up to now. So I'm a veteran going to that show every year. So I know a little bit of how that works, but I want to learn how other amusement parks from around the United States and even around the world, how do you run your Halloween attraction and your event every year? How do you do it? Do you do the same as we do it? Do you see the same that Halloween Horror Nights does it, but just on your own little level? How do you do it? So that's why I like to go there and learn that stuff.
Well, that's just it. I was looking at the program. So they have education classes too,
Yes.
or sessions. There was, don't quote me, but I want to say at least 15 haunt related
Yes.
sessions. And we did a fun thing actually, where we used Scream Score to measure fear, but we did it in a leadership class. So we're like, hey, if you want to be a really good leader, then you need to make sure that your fear of leading people or having hard conversations or firing people or whatever doesn't
Yeah.
get in the way of you being a good leader. So
Yes.
we actually use Scream Score almost in an HR way, which was like
I like
so
that though.
crazy cool. Scott Swenson, who a lot of you probably know from being in the haunt industry, was one of the speakers with me. And then Matt Heller was another incredible
Yes.
motivational speaker, leadership speaker. So it's just interesting at IAPA to see what we can learn from the attractions industry, but we're part of it, and what they
Yeah.
can also learn from us.
Yes.
It's a
It-
fun show.
oh yeah, and which they do. So a lot of the big guys that do IAPA, they come to Transworld every year. I see them there,
Yep.
and it's like, yeah, because they want to come to our show. Because not only that, we have the two biggest holidays now, because we have both Christmas and Halloween now takes over Transworld. So of course they're coming there not only to buy their supplies for the next coming season, but also they're coming there to learn. They're coming there to mingle, because they bring other haunted houses and production teams to come out and build their attractions on site. So
100%. Yep. A couple of friends of mine travel and do that.
yeah,
They do that for Busch Gardens, and they do that for Universal. And so you're going to see all the same people there.
yeah,
I was able to find the haunt people. It's so funny. Like I was on my phone, head down, walking through the expo, and actually almost ran into a good friend of mine at the Sheboygan Haunted Asylum. He was like, hello, here we are in the middle of IAPA
mhm,
and talking about haunts. But I think there's going to be a lot of overlap. I always want to go to both shows. Transworld is such a family though. Like
Yes.
and IAPA is so large, it's harder to find people.
Oh yeah.
It's just so big. You have to really work at meeting up, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Orange County Convention Center. Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
It's so
Yeah.
big. So I used to do MegaCon back when I was a radio host. We have MegaCon, which is the biggest Comic Con in Florida, and it's second to largest from San Diego. So
Oh
San
my
Diego
God.
is still number one, but MegaCon is second in the world. And
Wow.
I mean, Orange County Convention Center is just freaking enormous. And we don't even use up the whole thing. I think IAPA does because,
It does.
they bring in so much more than just regular vendor tables. They're bringing in products, they're bringing in pieces of roller coasters, pieces of
Yeah.
rides,
Yeah.
and they bring in entire escape rooms and entire immerse rooms and stuff into that center. So of course they had to have the big enough space. But yeah, everyone has said that. They're like, Sammy, the haunt industry is like taking over IAPA. I'm like, well, yeah, because amusement parks keep coming to our show
Yeah.
and they're bringing products from our shows into their parks. So yeah, of course it's growing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You just have to wear the right shoes. I mean, I guess maybe for Trans World too, but they say that IAPA is 9 miles if you just go one way through the expo,
Yeah.
and all I'm saying is I have a picture of like the fleet of mobility assistant devices, like all of the scooters, and because it's just so big, and it'll wear you out. Like I literally go to the gym more before IAPA,
To get in shape.
which is kind of
That's
sad.
with Trans World too. I have to tell everybody. I said, Trans World, you got to wear the right kind of shoes, even though
Oh
they
yeah.
put carpet down. It's still hard because not only you walking a lot, you're standing a lot. There's not that much seating. I mean, there is in the cafeteria
Yeah.
area, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. And then I tell all the vendors, bring a chair. Bring a chair for you and your people. Even just those
Totally.
bar stools, that is a perfect investment because now you're sitting up nice and tall, so you can still sit eye level with your buyers, but you don't have to stand the whole time and kill out your legs. Because when you're at a booth, you're just standing there. You're really not moving. Or if you're moving an inch here, an inch there. You don't got a big wide space. Even when you got a bigger booth, you still don't have that much space to move around. So your legs
Right.
get cramped. They get sore. They're tired of you standing on them. So
It's
I always
almost
tell
the
people,
same. It's almost the same advice for a scare actor too, right?
oh,
It's
yes.
it's like bring your water, bring your throat drops,
Oh,
like
yes. That's another thing. You've got to stay hydrated. Yeah, you might need to bring your throat jobs for trans world because you're going to be talking a lot.
oh yeah. Yeah.
So you definitely got to take care of yourself. Trans world is so much easier for me to take care of myself because I eat right. I stay at an Airbnb, so I cook my own food. I eat
Oh,
right. I have a little gym I can go to. So easy for me because I know how to do it. I've been doing trans world since 2010. So I'm a veteran. I could tell you all the easy steps of how to do it right. You're still gonna hurt though. I can't help with that, but I can help you hurt less.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm thinking in the challenge, in the Scream Score challenge for Trans World, I'll have to talk to Jen. I think it could be cool. There's a lot of people who go through that are not actually the owners and the designers.
No.
There's family members too, I
Mhm.
think, or people who are, I
Halloween
see
enthusiast.
them. Yeah, like they're still getting scared. So
Yeah.
those are the ones that I want to measure. And I'm playing with the idea of, okay, well, what are we going to scare them with?
Yes.
Like at first I was thinking, well, I'll have them wear VR, but then I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm really thinking that it's got to be live. It's got to be scare actors.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking about that. And everyone says, well, you can't scare trans world audience because they
That's a lie.
I don't
I
think
have
that's
seen
true.
it.
Right. I hear people screaming
Mhm.
like,
And it will be a scare actor. That's what kills me. It will be a fellow scare actor that gets jumped by a brand new
oh,
animatronic
100%.
or
Oh
by
yeah.
another actor dressed up
Oh,
at a
totally.
booth. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
laugh
yeah.
so hard because I'm like, how you be in this for so long and yet you got scared over that.
Yeah. So at East Coast, I did a competition. So I was wearing the Scream Score system, and the competition was whoever gets my heart rate and my nervous system the highest is going to get a t-shirt. And it was like Scream Score champion t-shirt.
Yep.
And the problem with that idea, of course, is that I don't like to get scared. So I was like, this is probably a stupid idea, but I did it anyway. And I swear to God, there was this one incredible scare actor woman, and she kept coming back and getting me. And that was the 88 that I got, was from East Coast Haunters. She just kept coming after me, and I'd be talking to somebody, distracted, and she would just hit me. She did an incredible, beautiful job. So, but keep your eyes open. There will be some competitions, maybe a crown or some sort of like very extravagant sash. I don't know.
And so then I'm going to be running up and interviewing them. Like, how was it? Did you love it? Yes. I know you were scared.
Yes. I don't want to be the target. I'll just say that. I'm going to have contestants.
Yes.
That will be hooked up and ready to get their Scream Score. And then we will have somebody come after them and try to scare them. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be gamified.
Exactly. I love it. I love the
idea. Why not? Have fun.
All right, so I got some of the photos that you sent me here.
Oh, yeah.
So this is from the app, correct?
Right. So this is actually a leaderboard that an owner would be able to put up on a television. So this is a sample. This is one that we were using for Transworld. So it shows the attendees or your customers, the all-time top scores, and the scores as they're coming in. So you get all-time best and then today's top scores. We have a couple leaderboards that the owners can choose from, but the cool thing is all you have to do is put this on a smart TV, because it's just a URL. It's a website. You also can put this on your website. So you can be like, hey, check the scores as they're coming in real time. And so there's two different, those two arrows are showing two different leaderboards that you can choose from, either today's scores or all-time best scores. And all you do is you log into any browser, you put that into the browser address, and then you have your scores in real time. Yeah, this is a great example of for different attractions. So those different colors, the green, the blue, and the purple, are different mazes or different rooms that you might want to measure. And you can see day by day how those are changing. And then you can also see the total number of scores that you've had in that day or in that hour. You also see the average score, which is at the top in the middle. And then in this case, we didn't have any scores today because, that was probably a demo from Transworld. And then below, you're seeing scores come in chronologically. So you can be looking and be like, oh, okay, we're getting 60s, 40s. Our highest score would be lower down. Our average is 67. Now, this was from us testing at Transworld, and so you can see that the scores are low. If this was in a haunt, it would be in the 80s and probably 90s. Yeah, and this is how you make a group. So there's one of the tabs on the app, which anybody can download the app right now. You just won't be able to trigger it because you have to have either a tap or a QR code to trigger it at the haunt or at the film festival. But don't worry, pretty soon you'll be able to trigger it yourself. Yep. So this is just an example of like your profile, and it shows you I've done 7 different haunts. I got first place one time. My top score was 11. This is where I got it. So this is kind of like your own leaderboard just for you.
That's cool.
Yeah. And this is how it works. So you see the little blue people starting at the top corner. They download the app, then they make a team, then they go into the haunt and they just get scared and it's measuring the whole time. And then at the end, they get a score on their phone, but it also is on a leaderboard outside of the haunt if you want. And then the last picture is sort of like the owner's portal where they get all of the data. They can see what's happening in real time. And the little monsters, there's like a werewolf and a zombie. That's where you can set up competitions with your scare actors for the next night.
Yes.
Like, okay, guys, let's see who's going to, you can even do a bracket.
Yeah.
You could do like March Madness, except all of your mazes. I don't know.
I'm definitely setting this to Eddie. So out at Woods of Terror, they are my sponsor. We'll give them a shout out here in a second. Woods of Terror, has many different houses throughout the maze. So like every night they do a competition who had the best house, who was the best scare actor, stuff like that. So doing the score obviously will help them out a lot better because they'll take some of the weight off their shoulders, but also giving them competition for their customers and stuff like that. I could see Eddie definitely benefiting this big time with Woods of Terror. And he doesn't have to do it every night. He could just do it on select nights or just during the big holiday events when it's just a little bit less crazy. Because, that haunt likes to jam packed, up to 4,000 to 5,000 people easily.
Right.
So that's a lot of people to go through to do something like this. But definitely, I could see that definitely benefiting most definitely at skate parks that have separate sections throughout their attraction. But then even for the Darkness, which has 4 sections, but they're on different floors. So you could be like, hey, first floor did this, second floor did this. And that's how you split it in half. But yeah, most definitely.
I like the playfulness and the competition, though it's not like, it's competition without any big stakes. It's just like smack talking, but now you have real biometric data behind it. So if you go into a haunt with your dad and your mom and your sister, when you're waiting in line and you're downloading the app and you're making a team, like all of that smack talking is already happening in the queue lines, but now it takes it a little bit to a different level. And I think that's fun. I think that's, why not play with that? The cost is really super, super reasonable for the haunts. We're talking like less than $500, and then you have unlimited use. We have people that have used it for summer. We have people who have used it for like Christmas time, and I think trying to pull the audience to a haunt in the off season, you want to have something new to talk about. This is very, very, very easy. I send you a QR code. You're using it 2 days from now, or less,
No, this definitely benefits the haunt in so many different ways. And then obviously it benefits influencers and media personnel such as myself. So yeah, I see this definitely taking off, Heather. Absolutely. Further than it already has.
Well, we're just trying to have fun out here for real. And I'm really grateful for everybody who has given advice along the way. And the haunts that tried it when it was so early and so new and so bumpy. Using Bluetooth and GPS, it was really tough. And I'm just grateful that people took a chance and tried to help me out. So I don't want to get sappy because I will, but you know who you are. And here we are now, trying it in different industries, using it with film. But I still want the ideas, and I still want the questions, because there might be someone out there who's like, yeah, but it doesn't do this or it couldn't do that. Well, ask me. I'm still developing and changing it all the time. So I want to know, and I think people would say, well, you got to get a wearable that I can just hand everybody.
Yes.
And that doesn't have to have their phone. And we're trying, we're working towards that, but it's really tricky. So we hear you. We want it as well. Talk to me at Transworld. It's very difficult to do. But right now we have something to play with. So, at least we have this, right?
Yes, exactly. Now, are you planning on to have a booth at Transworld?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I have paid for my booth. I will be there in my small but mighty 10 by 10. So
You
please
don't
come
need anything
by.
bigger, trust me.
Like, come by. If you think you can't be scared, I would love to know what your score is. If you're super, super hardcore, impossible to be scared, I still want to know what your score is.
Yeah,
So come by.
absolutely. You know, I'm going to come by.
Yay. Yes.
But yes, all right, everyone, make sure you check out Scream Score. I will leave links in below for the social media, website, everything that you need in the following link below. Also, shout out to Woods of Terror, our official title sponsor. Woods of Terror is open this coming weekend, Friday and Saturday, the 5th and the 6th of December for their Krampus event. I will leave a link below for tickets still available. And
You
Heather,
haven't,
thank you
you
so
haven't,
much for
you're
joining
welcome.
me. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining into a segment of Into the Fear. I am your host, Chainsaw Sammy, and stay scary. We'll see you guys later.